Olá, pessoal do Cinepop. Eu estou aqui com a atriz Mackenzie Davis, que faz Os Órfãos. Mackenzie, I'm a huge fan.
Oh,
I love San Junipero. It's my favorite Black Mirror episode
Thank
ever.
you very much.
So, what drove you to this project?
Well, I was a fan of the novella. I'd read it years before and loved it. And I was a fan of the Barbara Kerr movie from the 60s. And then Floria is just such a beautiful visual director and creates such gorgeous images, and her aesthetic for this movie just felt like such an elegant way into this story, and it really it paired well with the sort of the internal life of this character. So the whole package really got me.
Have you ever been a nanny?
This is my first live-in job.
Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
The end is so intriguing. It took me hours to understand it, and I finally did. The book helped you to understand it, or did it take some time, or did you understood right away?
Well, the book is very open for interpretation. So I think there were a number of different versions that we could have made with the exact same source material, and that's why they keep remaking it. So it helped me in some ways, and then in other ways that we had to just sort of live in the world of our movie. But I think the tone and the spirit of the book is very palpable in the movie, even if there are some diversions.
Hello?
Would you have the same courage to, as the main character, to stay in a haunted house for like...
I don't know. Kate's really damaged. I'm not as damaged as her, so I feel like I would just leave and be like, it's just not going to work out for me. But yeah, she is compelled to stay and to deal with some responsibility and some child rearing trauma that she experienced in her own life. So I don't think so.
Neither do I. Last year starred Terminator Dark Fate, and now you're starring in The Turning. Which one's more challenging, to do like a sequel to a famous franchise or original movie?
Well, this is also a remake. They've made many of these. So they're totally different, and they're both so challenging in their own way. Not because they're sequels or remakes, but just sort of what's asked about you as the character, and that there is like a history to this where people can be like, I like the other one better. So we'll see.
Both of those movies are starred like for strong female characters. Do you think Hollywood's finally give more values part to women in Hollywood?
Sure, I think there's a trend towards that. The strong female character I find always a sort of troubling designation, because the character in Terminator and the character in The Turning couldn't be more different, but we lump them in as strong female characters. So I guess, but I think just having a diverse array of women and people's experiences being represented is more important than like strong characters.
You shouldn't be in here.
And how was the mood on set of The Turning? Like, it was funny or scary?
It was intense, and then we'd have, the lovely thing about working with kids and with Brooklyn and Finn in particular is they brought a levity and a lightness to this very dour, sort of sad space. And so you'd break and then have to go and play dolls and pretend with Brooklyn for a while or make Valentines, and that was a nice sort of salve when you were feeling really agitated from crying all day.
What happened to your last nanny?
Like I'd tell.
Henry James wrote the tale that inspired the movie 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. Why do you think it's still so contemporary?
I think because it's such a subjective experience of storytelling. So the only consistent thing is there's this unreliable narrator that you don't discover is unreliable until the end, but you're in her space, and then the story ends and you're forced immediately to reevaluate everything that came before. So there's nothing that sense of unreliability and falseness and following your intuition and subjective experience, depending on the generation, is going to have a completely different interpretation. So it keeps warranting another interpretation because how we read it is going to change.
And you're so eclectic as an actress. What genre would you like to star now?
I don't know. What? I don't know. I not action for a while. That was hard. Horror. I think anything. I think I've like bounced around a lot in the last few years, and now I'm like, oh, I just really want to work on something great always. So something great.
Bad dreams?
Hello, Brazil. Thank you for watching The Turning, and if you haven't, please go and watch The Turning. And bye.